Good afternoon. How y'all doing? You know, this is a crucial time. I don't say that negatively. Crucial is not negative. Neither is critical. A brilliant comedian who's very short. You should know who I'm talking about. Years ago, forget the name of the special. He made a very, as he often does, wise joke, a wise thread of humor. He said, if you really want to stop from going crazy, and granted he's internationally known, but he wanted to, include everyone. He said, you should find you a white show. So again, he's addressing chiefly black people, but he's saying you need to find a white show. So for people who get his humor, it's understood that and applied to everybody else, right? So what he was alluding to was to break the cultural, I'm not going to use that term, the cultural embrace of what we do, what we supposed to do, it deposits itself in every facet of life, right? If you're a cigarette smoker, I'm sure you've had times in your life, depending on what you smoke. I mean, it's a meager example, but people will ask you, why are you smoking that? Or if they really want to get oppositional with you, they say, why are you smoking a white cigarette? No pun intended. For my runners out there, why are your shorts so high? Why are you doing all that? We don't do that. I'm not going to go down the whole list, but one of my favorites, my swimmers out there. I learned to swim when I was a little boy. And a lot of y'all did. But my point is, we know the stereotypes. And stereotypes are nothing but subtle rituals, So if somebody who looks a certain way gets loud in a department store, that awkward glance that everybody gives each other, that's the validation of the stereotype, because it's a ritual, because it's expected that this type of person is going to go off. You know what I mean? Same way if somebody's in that same department store, let's say 2 hours later, right, and there's somebody at the desk like, excuse me, I need to talk to a goddamn manager. That look that everybody gives each other is the same formula, operate that stereotype. So stereotype and racism is not the same thing, you know what I mean? And it's not the same as prejudice. They are like three different layers of societal lenses, you know what I mean? Some people are just downright hateful and disrespectful for no reason at all. That's them, but you also have that. It's like my favorite one is when you be in the store or something and you might see a brother in front of you, these days, with the sagging and stuff, right? As a guy in the video I watch, pants down to their damn calf muscles, literally, like cannot even walk. It's actually disabling their ability to fucking walk with confidence. And, you get that lady or something, whatever, she look at you like, almost, that's like so much is in that little 3 seconds, She'll either look at you like, ain't that a damn shame, or like, and you just kind of give her that look like, I like to keep it positive. I don't do all that negative shit to try to act like I'm so much, because guess what, I really, at the end of the day, I don't know what that brother is capable of when it comes to just his life. But based on the presentation that all of us are experiencing at the store, that ritual commences. Why am I saying all this? To really break their cultural embrace, you gotta do simple things and dive into stuff that interests you. That sounds very easy, but I use these small examples to illustrate a larger point about what's cool. I was talking to somebody at the store the other day, and she was like, "There's really no such thing as cool anymore." And I could tell by the way she was talking, and her vibe and kind of her temperament. She was basically saying like there was a time when it was cool to wear this, it was dope to wear this, but whether it's the economy or just the nullification of what's cool, what's not. I mean, everything these days is so regarded as like it deserves a chance. It has to be defended. It has a right to. Don't cast anybody out. Everybody gets a trophy, right? So the whole temperament behind cool is not even existing anymore. So people who keep themselves on an island or in a box when it comes to what we do, that shit is gonna keep you behind. Honestly. And Cat Williams used that to say he was educating you through humor. He was saying it's like no Black History shirt is gonna come to life, and all these people start coming after you saying, "Oh, you watched motherfucking Seventh Heaven." I ain't never watched that show, but my point is, you have to find areas and avenues of your life to do things that you enjoy. And I mean, this works both ways when it comes to just perception. If you enjoy reading Ernest Hemingway, go for it. If you enjoy that. If you don't try to fugazi the scholar route and say, "Oh, he's such a prolific writer. He was such a great autonomous hunter." If you don't care about him, you're wasting your time and your energy. You know what I'm saying? But if you find history fascinating and you want to get into the minds of some of history's greatest thinkers, regardless of what they look like, do that for you. Stop approaching everything with this, "Oh, we don't do that." There's no more we. You don't have to believe me, you don't have to agree with me, but conceptually, there's no collective gauge to meter like what you're doing as a person. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I've met firefighters who you would think they might belong to certain organizations based on just, their vibe, their accent, and their favorite movie was Coming to America. It's a true story. Right? So I would have never guessed that, and something in me wanted to say that was wrong. But how can I say that? Because the real enemy was my perception and that stereotype. You know what I'm saying? So it's real important in this day and time to get into things that genuinely bring you joy. That, you know what? It's almost encouraged to go against what you think we do. And the more you do that, the only guideline that I'll provide you is make sure you enjoy it. And a good way to test if you enjoy something is you lose track of time with it. I know some people like you're very structured with your time, 10 minutes to use like an hour because you're that's cool, that's productive. But what I'm saying is very simple. If you can do it, and it almost invites you to like a realm of joy, timelessness. It's almost you fade out into that joy that you're creating via whatever that is. Bird watching, running, fishing. Clearly I'm Southern, right? Some people, they make it real structured and basic, and they say, okay, I'm talk to 10 people a day. 2 minutes max. And again, we're not timing nothing. We're just getting into this habit of doing simple things. Because I don't know about y'all, but with this gas and everything, I mean, everything's a luxury. You know, it's just now people are being forced to confront that. You know, so you can do the whole, oh, well, you know, life is good and everything is, you know, just super up. But, you know, a trip to the gym, obviously depending on where you live, but a trip to the gym, you know what I mean? That's an investment. Eating out 3 nights a week, you know, whatever, Mexican food, whatever you're into, that's an investment. Just carelessly bullshitting around with money, those days, you know, long gone. So my point is, why continue to audition for what we do when you already know what the hell you enjoy doing? That's all I'm really trying to say. Alright? Because what's going to happen is, it's almost like a person who never learns to speak up. Speaking up doesn't mean all this debate, confrontational, I said what I said, shit. It doesn't. Speaking up just means you can also speak up with your actions, right? So if you got a friend from high school and, you know, you see their name on your phone, right? Based on just repetition and, you know, you probably don't see them as much anymore, you'll feel a certain allegiance. Right, you'll feel a certain pull toward them to pick up the phone. But if they're trying to resurrect, strong word, I know, but if they're trying to put you back in patterns or habits, doesn't mean they're evil, but you got to be able to demonstrate that that's not you anymore. If that's not you. Because what a lot of people do is they say, oh no, you know, that's my homie. Or, you know, oh, that's, you know, we go way back, you know, she, I won't go there, but, you know, we build these patterns and experiences with people, and we mistake that for loyalty, when in fact all it is just memory. That's all it is, you know. If you see somebody in the grocery store who you had an argument with in high school, y'all's interaction will likely be positive, depending on how, you know, negative it got. But it's because that time has allowed that to restore itself. So, you know, embrace what it's you like to do. You know, embrace what it is that you like to do. And I just gotta say this, for so-called black men, you know, you got 2 spotlights on you when it comes to owning that, because for various reasons there's a campaign to determine what you like to do, what you love to do, what you won't do, and what you will do. You know, especially for you, because there's a set of behaviors set for you to follow. You know what I mean? So the sirens sing a little louder for you, if you get my drift. Whereas with other people, they may be exposed to the same content as you, but there's usually some aspect of rectification, meaning you don't get trapped in shit that you just enjoy all the time. Because whether you know it or not, some people align the term minority with child. Right? And what children do is children just perpetuate make-believe, you know. And if you really dig into minority and who that is placed on, and you think about the habits in our life, or that we're encouraged to pursue, just roll another one, you know. Buy another bottle. Find another woman. Just do that. Just keep moving. Hey, you heard that new shit? Hey, what's hot? Hey, you see the game last night? Hey, this very narrow loop-de-loop. If you enjoy doing those things, whatever. Who cares? My point is, I know there's millions of people who don't, who get caught in that. I used to work on a athletic staff. I won't say for which team professionally. And I met a guy who never played, playing time and all that. He didn't get any burn, nothing. And he was the most humble, chill, you would think but in the back of my mind the whole time I'm thinking like, why are you here? You understand? Because anybody who plays sports at a serious level, the sport is the center point of your day, when it comes to obviously workouts, conditioning, dinner, study hall if necessary, film. Y'all usually party and do all kinds of stuff together. So that's your family, in or out. But people who contribute to the team, just keeping it real, that's kind of understood because that's all taken into account when they go out and represent the entity or the, logo on game day. But if you don't play at all and you're just chilling there, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I could never determine, clearly you're happy, but, so just a small example of ask yourself next time you're in things that, I'm beating a dead horse with the we, but I want y'all to really think about that we shit, because we're getting to a time where, the timeline is shifting, like the chronology is kind of on an upgrade. And it's almost like when you put on a 2001 or 2002 movie and you hear the jokes and the humor and you look at the clothes, you clearly know you're in a different time. It's going to be like that soon. So you got to start to do original things and be proud of it. And once you can establish patterns or hobbies in your life that you don't have to defend or post or brag about or invite people to, you'll be surprised at how silently resilient and consistent that you prove yourself to be.